Eating warm and fresh food is always healthy, isn't it? But well, let me tell you one kind of a food, if you eat old and if you eat frozen, it is more healthy. And that's none other than bread. Yes, we all love to eat different kinds of a bread. But we always fear that the moment we eat bread, our blood sugars are going to rise. And it is this high blood sugar which kind of demotivates us to eat the bread. But not true now, because I'm going to tell you one secret so that you can incorporate in eating the bread right way, so you not only reduce your blood sugar spike but also helps you lose weight. Yes, what is that trip? That's what we are going to talk today. Namaste. My name is Dr. Tanvi Mayur Patel. I'm an endocrinologist, health and hormone specialist doctor from Mumbai, India. I see a lot of patients from diabetes to thyroid to PCOS and obesity. And all of these patients have one common problem, and that's the body weight. Lot many times people keep asking me, doctor, give me one tip which can help me reduce weight. Well, so many tips are there, and today's tip is one of that, and a very important, proven, scientific and a highly effective tip is to consume the bread frozen. Of course, when we freeze the bread, we are increasing the shelf life of the bread. But whatever bread you eat, whether brown bread or a white bread or any sort of bread, if you freeze it, you are going to get more benefit out of it. What happens when you freeze the bread? Well, the moment we freeze the bread, there are certain chemical reaction happens, and the starch present in the bread becomes more resistant starch. It is this starch which undergoes a retrodegradation and becomes a resistant starch, especially category 3. It is this resistant starch which resists the digestion. Okay? What happens when we eat bread? What actually happens? See, the moment we consume a bread, because it has a lot of starch, it immediately spikes up our sugar. And that's why, to control this high sugar, even the insulin level rises. So what happened? You ate the bread, within 1 to 2 hours, sugar spiked up, insulin spiked up. It is this high insulin which is making you gain weight after eating a bread. And if we can control this spike of the insulin, our point is proven and our health benefit begins. And that's what happens with the resistant starch. When you have a resistant starch, your body cannot utilize this starch in a very effective way. And that's why sugar and an insulin spike reduces dramatically. Okay? Not only that, this resistant starch cannot get digested by the enzymes present in our small intestine. And that's where this resistant starch now goes to the large intestine colon, where it gets fermented. And when it gets fermented, it creates certain chemicals which are important as a food for the gut good bacteria. In today's time, there is a lot of research going on good gut bacteria and how we can incorporate that for our human health. And by consuming regularly a resistant starch, we are helping promote this good gut bacteria. So by having this resistant starch, we are not only reducing the glycemic index of the food, we are reducing the spike of the sugar and insulin. It helps in keeping our appetite in control, it reduces body weight, it reduces insulin resistance, it reduces the waist circumference. And believe me, this all benefits are really important to get out of it. Okay? Now, resistant starch, when we consume on a regular basis, it is very, very helpful. In fact, there was one research was conducted in the USA, Oxford Brookes University, where they divided a white bread into 4 different categories. The category 1 was the eating of fresh bread. Of course, it had the highest glycemic index. The second group was toasting the bread. And they found that the resistance, because of the resistant starch, the glycemic index dropped down by 25%. Third category was refrigerating, freezing the bread and defrosting it to room temperature. The glycemic index dropped by 31%. And the fourth group was refrigerating, defrosting and then toasting. The resistance starch increased and the glycemic index reduced by 39%. So you understand, just by freezing the bread, we are minimum reducing glycemic index by 30%, and believe me, that's a very big amount. Okay, so this was the research which was conducted. Of course, this research was on white bread, but in my opinion, it will apply to every bread because all the breads contains a good amount of a starch, and this science principle will apply there also. Okay. Lot many times people think that, so where do we keep the bread? Fridge or the freezer? Okay. See, it also depends at what temperature the bread was baked. But usually when you keep the bread in a freezer, you will find that the resistant starch production is more, nearly 2 times. So freezing the bread is definitely a better idea. Okay. Of course, when you want to eat the bread, you have to do a little planning. You can't just go and eat it immediately because it is so cold. So you plan your meal and take out the bread possibly 30 minutes or 1 hour prior to eating, so that it is more palatable and edible. Okay, so that much effort you will have to take, but otherwise if you refrigerate and freeze the bread, you will get the maximum benefit. Alright, see, nowadays we all have a glucometer, a small device to measure the blood sugar in our house. Most of the people have such glucometer in their family. So you can do this experiment on your own self. Eat 1 or 2 slices of regular bread and after 1 or 2 hours check your blood sugar. Second time you toast it. Third time you refrigerate, freeze it and eat it, and you observe how much your sugar is rising. And I'm sure it will be definitely correlating with the experiment which was conducted. Because I myself have done this before making this video, and I definitely found a huge change in my blood sugar level. And I hope it helps you as well. Because if you have a good resistant starch, it is going to help you quite a lot in a weight management. This rule is not applicable only and limited to bread only, but in even the food like a rice, this rule applies. So if you cook the rice, refrigerate, freeze it and then you eat it, you will find good amount of resistant starch. Basmati rice especially. Potatoes again can be eaten with the same principle. Okay, so eat the food in a right way, in a right proportion way, so that you get the maximum advantage and least of the disadvantage. I hope after watching this video, you got some new, good, useful information. If yes, click on the like button. If you are new to my channel, then don't forget to subscribe so that you get more health related content. And if you have any of your personal question whose answer you are seeking for, write that in the comment box below. I try to read and answer them as early as I can. We will meet again in some new, good and useful information. Till then, you take care of yourself. Namaste.